Hello there. I want to take you on a walking tour and show you 100 pieces of my ceramic endeavors that cover the years from 1992 to 2012. There are sculptures, plates, bowls, figures, and art pots, and a lot of tiles. Hope you enjoy it. Walk along with me. Okay, let me walk you into the exhibition space. Follow me. Right on here and there. It's right in this door. Let me turn the lights on. And okay, let me walk you through these 100 pots. There's a little piece of sculpture. My primary love is sculpture, and this is about the history of ceramics and what ceramics convey. And I'll show you a bunch of chargers, plates, and bowls here first. 19-inch, a lot of space stuff. I was always enamored with the universe and Apollo 11 and all Apollo missions. I was inspired by the idea of the moon and space, as we all are. There's a big old charger. Wish I could have fired that again. Could have gotten so much richer, but I didn't dare take a chance. Another universe bowl, black hole bowl, swirling down, vortex shape. Here's my little Saturn chip and dip plate. I sent one of these to Charlie Duke, the Apollo 16 astronaut. He did me a favor and I sent him this. Wisteria at Ushijima. I wish I could go there. It's in Japan one of these days. Another theme was light and shade, sun and shade, shadows and snow. I loved it. I made a lot of bowls. I probably got 40 nice bowls that nobody has ever seen that are intensely decorated. This is one of them. This was fired 3 times. I took a big chance with this. This is all porcelain. Everything you see is porcelain, except maybe this figure. But 98% of what I made was porcelain. All high-fired, cone 10. And all glaze. I love these figures. Here's one that really excites me, obviously. Here's a wonderful piece. The religion of pottery. Me in my kiln handing out a finished pot. Like a Mexican, it needs a nicho to be put in. Here's my true love now. Sculpture, figurative sculpture. This is the earliest inklings of it. Now I make hardcore figurative sculpture that talks and listens and broadcasts and communicates. Here's a piece about the old art versus craft conundrum. Here's how I feel about it. How do you feel about it? Another piece about my my love of ceramics. Here's a tiny little piece, 1 by 1 inch. It says, not a big deal. Tiles. I love tiles. I made a lot of tiles. A lot of leaded tiles. And copper frames. Those are real heavy copper frames. I had a vision for them, but I never got around to it. Dragonfly pots, made a lot of them. One constant theme. I probably made 40 or 50 dragonfly pots because the art pottery people are nuts about them. More beautiful tiles. Full moon. Forest tiles. I made a lot of forest stuff and I got very little of it, sadly. Here's one of the most beautiful pots I ever made. Laying glaze right up against glaze. Made a lot of these cycle of life pots, poppy pots, about a dozen of them. More leaded tiles, gorgeous, got lucky. Here's one of the most beautiful ones, I think. Spring in the orchard, bright sun. All inspired by Japanese prints. I've collected Japanese prints, and I always rationalized buying Japanese prints by the fact that I could say, I'll turn those into a pot. landscape pots for the art pottery people. Another wisteria tile. Another snow theme. Full moon, gray day. Here's one of the most beautiful pots I ever made. Just everything about it was the shape and the colors and the pastel and the moon and the snow. And a little bit of a touch of an X-Acto knife outlining everything and lifting the edge. Another one of those poplar tree tiles. One of the few forest pieces I got. I think I have 3 forest pieces. I made a lot of them. Boy, they sold right away to the arts and crafts, the Matt Green people. This is a stoneware, early piece, 18 inches, 19 inches. Made a lot of gourds, and I made them with the slop from throwing frequently. Here are 4 little slip cast tiles that are paintings, really. Most of my stuff is like a painting. It's a little artier than most pottery, I think. These are slip cast tiles and frame, all one piece. This little piece, I was life casting death on the beach. So this horseshoe crab was dead on the beach, and I set up a little mold and cast him as he lay there, and then made the frame. Excuse me. Typical art pots. Gorgeous. Here's one that this baby is really special. It's just gorgeous. Luscious. Another favorite theme was snow on rudbeckia seed heads, and this is one of them. I made a lot of these pots. I don't know how many I've got. I got a handful of them. California poppy pot, I think I got 1 of those or 2 of those, probably maybe 8 or 10. Another forest piece, but with northern lights. I went to Alaska. Alaska is inspiring. Self-portrait, 9x12 tile. Made it for the front of a magazine. Hasn't gotten there yet, but I'm hoping. A beautiful tile. Porcelain, believe it or not, about 1 inch thick. Snake pots, made a lot of snake pots. A lot of frogs inside, a lot of things inside. Just a lot of gorgeous ones. I made a lot of them, they're all gone. Here's one of the finest pieces here. It's just gorgeous. And it has a false bottom, so they're draining their venom, and it looks like the vase is full inside. A lot of pots had frogs in them. A lot of landscape pots for the art pottery people. Here's one of the first art pots I made. Boy, I was so excited when they came out of the kiln. I couldn't believe it. Another landscape. Here's a little grouping of art pots. Bottom left is killer. Got carried away with a copper frame. That was fun. Went to Alaska. Alaska is inspiring. It's so beautiful. Northern lights, landscape. Dragonfly pots. I probably made 40 or 50 dragonfly pots. I got a half a dozen of them. My son, Chris, and Kath, my wife, and I used to drive up the river road to Alton, Illinois, in the fall to see the leaves. And it's a spectacular drive on the river road along the Mississippi. So I had to make this pot, a little piece of sculpture about fall and the river bluffs. One of my consistent themes that I made through the years, snow on alliums, just great design. Easy to make, fun. I made a half a dozen pots that were glazed inside and out identically. A lot of trouble. This is the only one I have. All the other ones are gone. It's lush, real lush, intensely decorated. Here's a self-portrait of me, 2 of myself on the wall, and 2 of my oak tree pots, which are destined to become lamps. Hopefully, I got a lot of pots that are waiting to be made lamps. Rain pots, rain and snow and lightning. Always love making these things. Very expressive. Get carried away real easy. Another snake pot, Cobra's Snake Charmer's pot. Here's a great pot. Copper red. Made this when China took over Hong Kong. Cobalt painted landscape of the city with a curtain of copper red coming down. Another beautiful piece, dancing around the fire. Here's a glazing tour de force. I call it koi pond. There's all kinds of living things in there. If you look around, there's a lot to see. This, I walked outside my studio door, and there's a plant in the planter frozen with all these icicles hanging off the seed heads, and I had to go right back inside, make one. Tried to make it as cool as I could. It's a beautiful piece. Here's a little talking sculpture about what to value in this life. I make sculpture now, and they all talk, and they listen, and they broadcast, and they even do more than that. Here's a beautiful piece about nature. The challenge, the beauty, the reverence of nature. It's a water fountain. Water comes out the top and cascades down where the blue is, and all these little spectators in awe of my pottery. Here's another great piece, big, 19 inches, glazed differently on the two sides. One side spring rains, and the other is snow on alliums. A direct inspiration from the Japanese garden, spring bowl. My infamous ham pot. Everybody wants that pot, and there's only one of them, and I got it. Here's a little sculpture, an early sculpture. This is stoneware, I believe, and it's about everything eating everything else. You want 12 of my pots? I made clocks. I got about 4 or 5 of them left. Here's one shot. This was a show at Merrimack where I had 100 pieces. So I'm kind of reviewing that show with you. And here's the landscape of the show, set up like Persepolis. I'll leave you with this statement. Everybody has to give a statement, and it's all true. Okay, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that. That shows you what I've been doing for the last 24 years. I actually started making pots in '92. I kind of backed off them in 2012, and I was making them on and off until 2016, and then I called it quits. Nunca más, no more ceramics. So what you see is what I was. Ciao.